Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to crack the code on a really key skill for the Level 4 Business Analyst standard. I'm talking about S19 data modeling, so if you're looking to go beyond just passing and really want to ace this in your endpoint assessment, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get into it.
So you're gearing up for your EPA, right? You know you've put in the work, you've got the skills, but something like data modeling, it can feel a little abstract, can't it? How do you actually prove you know what you're doing when you're in that high-stakes professional discussion? Look, it's a super common challenge, and today we're going to give you the blueprint to turn that challenge into your moment to shine.
Here's how we're going to tackle it. First up, we'll get clear on what S19 is actually asking for. Then, we're going to deconstruct it, break it down into simple, actionable parts. After that, we get really practical. How to build solid proof in your portfolio, and, just as important, how to talk about it to hit those juicy distinction criteria. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into a simple game plan you can take away and use.
Okay, Section 1, Understanding the Challenge. And let's be clear, we're not seeing this as some scary hurdle. Nope. This is the perfect opportunity for you to really showcase your skills to that assessor.
So here it is, straight from the horse's mouth, the occupational standard itself. Skill S19. Support the development of simple data models using relevant techniques, standards, notation, and software tools. Now, every single word in that sentence is important, and trust me, we're going to unpack all of them. But first things first, how is this actually assessed?
Right, so as you can see from the EPA plan, S19 falls under Assessment Method 2. This is not some written exam where you just regurgitate facts. It's a professional discussion with an assessor. And here's the crucial part. That entire discussion is underpinned by your portfolio. That means your evidence can't just be good enough. It has to be a perfect launchpad for a brilliant conversation.
Okay, on to Section 2. Let's take all that official jargon and turn it into concrete actions you can actually talk about and, more importantly, do. First up, what on earth is a simple data model? Let's just demystify this right now. At its heart, it's just a drawing. It's a visual map of the data in a system. It shows the key pieces, things like customer, order, product, and how they all connect to each other. Honestly, the best way to think of it is as the blueprint for the data, making sure everyone is on the exact same page. Now, what about those fancy-sounding techniques, standards, and notation? These are just the specific methods and symbols you use to create that blueprint. And chances are, you've already used some of these. We're talking about things like entity relationship diagrams, or ERDs. Maybe you used crow's foot notation to show the relationships, or created data dictionaries to define what each bit of data actually means. And finally, software tools. This one's easy. It's simply the program you use to do the work. The standard doesn't care which one you used. It could be an industry heavyweight like Visio or Enterprise Architect, or even free online tools like Lucidchart or Draw.io. The key isn't the tool itself, but your ability to talk about why it was the right tool for that specific job. Okay, let's switch gears and get into the really practical stuff. How do you build the proof for your portfolio? This is all about creating that tangible evidence that's going to make your professional discussion a massive success. And here is a golden rule, a top tip coming directly from the assessors themselves. This is not about burying them in paperwork. It's about quality over quantity. Your mission is to focus on creating 2 or 3 really strong, really clear examples that show off your skill. So how do you make one of those strong examples? Just follow this simple 4-step process. 1. Pick a project where you got your hands dirty with data. 2. Include the actual diagram, the data model you helped to create. 3. Write a short, clear description of the project, the business problem, and, most importantly, what you specifically did. And 4. Get that witness statement from your manager or a senior colleague to back you up. Now, this is absolutely crucial. S19 does not live in a vacuum. The EPA plan groups it with K18 and S18 for a very good reason. This is your chance to tell a complete story. You start with K18, explaining the why. Why was this data so valuable to the business? Then you move to S18, describing the how. How did you gather the requirements from people? And you finish strong with S19, showing the outcome, the actual data model you helped create. Weaving these together isn't just clever, it's a total distinction-level move.
And that brings us perfectly to Section 4. You've got the evidence, you've built your story, now how do you talk about it? This is where you elevate your game from a simple pass to a standout distinction.
Okay, listen up, because this might be the single most important piece of advice you'll hear. It is so easy to say, we did this, or the team decided that. But stop. The assessor can only grade you. You have to take ownership. Use the word I. I chose this notation. I facilitated that workshop. I created this model. It's your assessment. Take the credit for your work.
And this slide just highlights that difference perfectly. It's the what versus the why and impact. A pass-level answer just states what you did. I used an ERD. Fine. But a distinction-level answer, that explains why you did it, the business problem you were solving, and the impact your work had. The distinction example here connects the data model directly to fixing a real business problem with a measurable result. That is next-level stuff.
All right, we're in the home stretch in our final section. Let's pull all these threads together into a clear, actionable game plan for you to nail that distinction. This is your checklist to take away and use. Here it is. It's that simple. First, deconstruct the standard so you know exactly what they're looking for. Second, connect S19 to its neighbors to tell that powerful, cohesive data story. Third, build your 2 to 3 killer pieces of evidence. Fourth, practice, articulating the why and the impact. And finally, remember to own your incredible work by always saying I. I want you to leave with this thought, because it's so powerful. Think of your portfolio as your script. You prepare it, you perfect it, you know it inside and out. The professional discussion, that's your performance. That's your moment to bring that script to life, to add the commentary, the passion, and the insight that proves you know your stuff.
So, as you go and prepare for your endpoint assessment, just ask yourself this one question. Don't think about just collecting documents. Think about the narrative you are building. What story is your portfolio going to tell about your data skills? Go out there and make it a great one. You've got this. Good luck.